What is your worst roommate story? Moved into a house with my 3 friends. One was my best friend, and he was cool. The other was his girlfriend and our mutual friend, who was also another girl. We were the luckiest people alive because we were renting a 3-bedroom house for $500 a month. My buddy grew up poor, and I was homeless for a year. We both knew how lucky we were. We fought hard for everything we had, but the 2 girls we lived with were spoiled. They fucked everything up for us. They would do everything from invite strangers over to party without asking us on work nights to skipping the rent. They would steal our food and never go grocery shopping. They would turn the AC down to 63 degrees in the middle of 100 degrees heat waves, causing our utility bill to be higher than our rent. They'd break shit in the house and start arguments with each other. The one girl even brought in 2 friends to live in her bedroom with her for 6 months without even asking us. I worked a seriously demanding job at the time. I woke up at 4 a.m. every morning and got to work by 5 a.m. I wouldn't be home until anywhere from 8 p.m. to 1 a.m. most nights. It was incredibly stressful. This was very difficult when the girls kept inviting anywhere from 10 to 30 people to party at our house every fucking night. I even came home at 1 a.m. once to find a stranger passed out in my bed covered in vomit. They also played music so loud every night that it would shake my bedroom wall. The girls didn't give a fuck because they just called out constantly and eventually quit their jobs. Did I also mention that half these strangers were teenagers who were illegally drinking at our house and then driving home? One night, my friend's girlfriend got drunk and started stabbing the bedroom door with a knife. This isn't even our property. My buddy went to stop her, and she stabbed him 3 times. I had to go pin her against the wall and have some random stranger come grab the knife from her friend. It was fucking insane. I had to beg the landlord not to kick us out and replace the door. One time, somebody in the house ripped the shower head off in the shower during one of their parties. The threads were ruined, and I had to replace the entire pipe. They also raided our fridge and went through my month's worth of food I had just bought in a single night. This was a reoccurring event. I eventually bought a mini fridge and a lock for my door. That worked for a while until someone drunkenly fell through my door in the middle of the night while I was sleeping. One of the girl's friends fucking hated me because I'd always come out and kick people out. See, my roommate was a small girl who would tell me she'd stop doing this shit, but then do it the next day anyways. She ended up befriending this huge girl who would shit talk me constantly in my own house for her. The bitch would constantly disrespect me in front of people and tell them to keep partying. She didn't even fucking live there. She just came over to talk shit, get drunk, and do coke on the living room table my buddy and I bought. That table also got broken into one night. One time, they had so many people in the house that a floor joist broke. My buddy and I had to fix it to keep us all from getting kicked out. It cost us a ton of money and an entire weekend that I should have spent relaxing. It's just another thing to add to the list I had to fix there. I fixed lights and windows that were shattered, punched drywall, toilets, holes in the yard from cars parking in the yard, outlets that were ripped out, paint that was scratched or drawn on, our mailbox after being hit by a drunken teen, countertops that had been burned by thousands of cigarettes, busted water pipes from idiots crawling under the sink. I could go on all day. I spent thousands on this house to avoid losing the only place I could afford to rent. One day I came home from work to a complete nightmare. They broke half the drywall in the living room. Somebody had scratched up the hardwood floor so bad that half of it would need to be replaced. The curtain rods on 2 of the windows had been ripped off the wall. The kitchen sink had been pulled off the wall and had leaked into the floor all night. Our refrigerator had been turned over entirely. This was when the table I bought was snapped in 2. There was vomit all over the house. People were passed out on the ground everywhere. There was coke on every flat surface in the house. My bookshelf had been knocked over, and half of them were burnt in the yard from what I heard my buddy tell me. I just quit that day. I recorded it all, met up with the landlord, and showed them the video later that day. She was understandably furious. I admitted to her that I had been repairing things for about a year now to hide it from her. She wasn't even angry at me surprisingly. She was just happy one of her tenants was being honest. I sent her all the video evidence and told her that the people were all still there when I left, just passed out on the floor. I told her I had found another living arrangement and had to leave. She thanked me and I left. I had packed all my stuff that night and left without saying a word. About the time I got done talking to the landlord, my roommate was messing me how she needed help cleaning and fixing the house. I just ignored her and took all my stuff to my girlfriend's house. She later messaged me, saying the cops were there. She had an entire court case about it and was evicted. She had to pay the last month's rent and utilities alone, as well as all the damages. I haven't talked to her since then. Ash, if you're reading this, fuck you, bitch.